Township of Edison Zoning Board of Adjustment regular meeting of August 27, 2024 is now in session. Adequate notice of this meeting as required by the Open Public Meetings Act of 1975 has been provided by the annual notice published in the Home News and Tribune on December 18, 2023, as posted in the main lobby of the municipal complex on December 18, 2023. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
To the flag, United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Secretary, roll call, please.
Mr. Carley? Mr. Bigno? Ms. Shaw? Here. Mr. Ayat?
Here.
Mr. Chabra?
Here.
Mr. Cerrito?
Here.
Mr. Patel?
Here.
Mr. Barone?
Here.
Mr. DeVay?
Here.
And Chairman Kumba.
Here.
Thank you.
Madam Secretary, minutes for consideration.
July 30th, 2024, minutes of approval.
What's the board's pleasure?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Patel, second by Mr. Chabra. Roll call, please.
Mr. Cerrito?
Yes on the motion.
Mr. Barone?
Yes on the motion.
Mr. Chabra?
Yes to the motion.
And Chairman Kumba.
Yes on the motion.
Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, first resolution to be adopted.
Z19, 2021, Edison Chicken and Burgers, LLC, granted for approval.
What's the board's pleasure?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Chabra, second by Mr. Patel. Roll call, please.
Mr. Barone?
Yes on the motion.
Mr. Chabra?
Yes to the motion.
Mr. Patel?
Yes on the motion.
Mr. DeVay?
Yes on the motion.
And Chairman Kumba.
Yes on the motion. Madam Secretary, next resolution, please.
Z40, 2023, New York SMA Unlimited, granted for approval.
What's the board's pleasure?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Chabra, second by Mr. Patel. Roll call, please.
Mr. Barone? Yes.
Yes on the motion.
Mr. Chabra?
Yes to the motion.
Mr. Patel?
Yes on the motion.
Mr. DeVay?
Yes on the motion.
And Chairman Kumba.
Yes on the motion.
Thank you.
Madam Secretary, next resolution, please.
Z8, 2023, Nirali Patel, denial.
Motion to approve.
Second to the motion.
Motion made by Mr. Patel, second by Mr. Chabra. Roll call, please.
Mr. Barone?
Yes on the motion.
Mr. Chabra?
Yes to the motion.
Mr. Cerrito?
Yes on the motion.
Mr. Patel?
Yes on the motion.
And Chairman Kumba.
Yes on the motion. Madam Secretary, final resolution for consideration.
C17, 2024, Arvind Patel, denial.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Chabra, second by Mr. Patel. Roll call, please.
Mr. Cerrito?
Yes on the motion.
Mr. Chabra?
Yes to the motion.
And Chairman Kumba.
Yes on the motion. Thank you very much, Madam Secretary.
Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is a regular meeting of the Township of Edison Zoning Board of Adjustment. The board is composed of Edison Township residents appointed by the Municipal Council who volunteer their time and service to the board. The Municipal Land Use Law requires that members successfully complete a land use training course administered by the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs. This board also holds in-house training conducted by our board professionals. The zoning board abides by the provisions of the Municipal Land Use Law in addition to our board's bylaws. The zoning board is a quasi-judicial land use board, which differs from the Township Planning Board. Under the Municipal Land Use Law, board members are required to be impartial and are not allowed to discuss any case prior to its consideration before the board at a hearing. All applicants will have the opportunity to present their case before the board, with the opportunity for board members and board professionals to question the applicant and their witnesses. At the conclusion of the applicant's presentation of their case, the case will be open to the public. Residents within 200 feet of the subject property will be heard, followed by residents from outside of 200 feet. All residents will be sworn in. They'll provide their name and address, and they'll be given 6 minutes to comment on the application being considered without the opportunity for a rebuttal. Residents may ask questions of the applicant's professionals, and board professionals. The board requests that these questions are asked prior to any commentary being made on the application. Once commentary begins, the resident's timer will begin. The applicant will be allowed for the opportunity for cross-examination of their witnesses. Under the law, the chair is allowed to stop any commentary which is repetitive or is an attempt to filibuster the board. Further, the chair is allowed to stop any commentaries that is irrelevant to the case or prohibited from the board's consideration. Once the public portion is closed, all public comment is ended, unless new testimony is presented by the applicant. Following the closure of the public portion, the applicant will have the right of summation on their application. Following summation, the case will go to the board for a decision. This procedure has been followed by the board and is similar to the procedures followed by boards of adjustment statewide. The municipal land use law requires the board to engage in a balancing act. It is not required to strictly apply township ordinances, zoning plan, or master plan. As a board of adjustment, variances are granted when appropriately necessary following all legal considerations. As has been the case with prior boards, this board will see where we are at if we are still in session around 10:30 p.m. I do not predict that for this evening, but please do not prove me wrong. I ask that the applicants, professionals, and residents show respect to each other and be civil throughout all proceedings. I ask that you withhold applause, booing, or interrupting of anyone while they are speaking. The chair will not tolerate any outbursts by applicants, professionals, or the public. Further, since most cases are being recorded by a court reporter, I ask that speakers do not speak over one another. So our first two orders of business is closed session. Madam Secretary, would you mind reading the two matters to be considered in a closed session?
So the first closed session is the raised concerns in court as to Aliwadi versus the Township of Edison Zoning Board. And the second closed session is raised in court as to Care One versus Township of Edison Zoning Board.
Can I get a motion to go into closed session?
Motion to go into closure.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Patel, second by Mr. Cerrito. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The board will now adjourn to closed session. We do not expect to be long, and then we'll get back to the agenda. Thank you very much. Can I get a motion to return to public session?
Motion to return to a public session.
Second.
Made by Mr. Cerrito, second by Mr. Patel. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Board is now in session. Madam Secretary, first case on the agenda.
Case number 1, Z45, 2023, Juana Lopez at 2037 Woodbridge Ave. Applicant is seeking preliminary site plan along with bulk and use variances to construct a 2-story multi-use building, commercial and 1-bedroom apartment. The following standards have not been met. Max FAR permitted is 0.30%, proposed is 0.97%. Maximum building coverage permitted is 30%, proposed is 48.3%. On-site parking required is 7%, proposed is 6%. Affected property is located in the LB zone, designated as block number 240.01, lot number 34 on the Edison Township tax map. All noticing paperwork is in order.
Good evening, Mr. Shire.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Bernard Shire with the firm of Convery, and Shire, representing the owner applicant, Juana Lopez. With regard to this application for property located at 2037 Woodbridge Avenue, block 240.01, lot 34. Presently, the property contains a 1-story dilapidated building being used by a psychic. The area along Woodbridge Avenue there is quite in disrepair, I would say, at best, with the exception of the funeral home up the street. The proposal is to demolish the existing building and construct a new 2-story building with a salon on the first floor and an apartment upstairs, which will be owner-occupied on the second floor. This was designed by our architect as a 2-bedroom apartment, and my client will explain to you why she would like to live there with her sister, and they are going to be the operators of the salon, so it will not increase any parking needs. In spite of that, we have complied with the parking needs. As you'll see, we have some spaces on the property. However, we also have acquired 6 spaces off the property from the funeral home, which is one property up the street on the same side where people can utilize for parking. And we have an agreement that's been provided to the board from the Goldstein Funeral Chapel indicating the hours we can utilize it on Monday through Friday and Saturday and Sunday. The variances we need are a use variance for the apartment, which is not permitted in the LB zone. I would note that everything around us, with the exception of a couple of mixed-use buildings, is all residential. In fact, across the street, there's a building with commercial on the first floor and quite a few apartments on the second floor. The property itself is unusual in shape. It's very narrow, but the depth of the property does meet the zoning standards. Because of this, we are going to need a substantial floor area ratio variance, but almost anything you can utilize the property for would require that. The side street, Russell Avenue, is all residential going up the street, and I took a ride today. There's almost no street parking being utilized, so it would be convenient for people to park there as well. However, we do meet the parking standards by virtue of what we'd acquired from the funeral home. Other than what I've told you, I am ready to proceed, but we are seeking to have the 2 bedrooms as in the architect's plan. I have the architect, Robert Hernandez, And I also have our engineer and planner, John DuPont, present, as well as Juana Lopez, the owner. And if there are no preliminary questions, I'm ready to proceed.
Does the board have any preliminary questions for Mr. Shar?
Why is the need to have an apartment on the second floor?
I'm sorry?
Why do you have a need of adding another apartment on the second floor?
The owner wants to live there, and her sister, and the two of them are going to be the beauticians in the salon. So it's a matter of convenience, and they need a place to live.
If you remove the apartment, what would be the FAR?
I'm sorry?
If you remove the apartment, what would be the FAR just for the future when you have a
If you
testimony?
remove the apartment, I would have to ask our architect that. Yeah,
Okay.
he's present.
I got it.
Any other preliminary questions? Okay. All right, you may proceed, Mr. Shar.
Right. I would call Juana Lopez. Come up here. Hello. Are these microphones working? Ms. Lopez, you're the owner of this
I
property?
need to swear her in. Ms. Lopez, would you
yes.
raise your right hand? Sure. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Can you please state your full name for
You
the
have to
record? I
speak
just
into
want to
the
make sure the
microphone,
microphone's
okay?
Yes.
All right, Ms. Lopez, you're the owner of the property at 2037 Woodbridge Avenue,
Yes.
and it's your intention to operate a beauty salon there after building a new two-story building, correct?
Yes.
And you and your sister would be the operators of the salon?
It's my daughter.
I'm sorry, your daughter.
Yes.
And you would both be living upstairs, correct?
Yes.
And that's why you want to have the apartment on the second floor?
Yes.
Just a couple of questions. There's going to be only 2 chairs in the salon, right?
Yes.
And as far as trash is concerned, you presently operate a salon?
Yes, I do.
And where is that located?
It's an A63 Somerset Street in Somerset. A63 Somerset Street in Somerset.
All right. And that type of operation does not generate a lot of trash, does it?
Not really.
And there, you don't need a dumpster or anything
No, I
like
don't.
that?
No, I don't.
You'll be able to just take the trash and put it out like residences do
Yes.
to the sidewalk, correct?
Yes.
All right. I have no other questions.
Board have any questions for Ms. Lopez?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Dave?
what is the current use of the property now? What is the current use?
It's a psychic.
Oh, okay. And how long you own that property?
Almost 2 years.
With the intent
It's 2
to,
years already. I bought it in July.
with the intent to renovate it and open a business there?
Excuse me?
With the intent to open up a business there?
Yeah, well, when I bought that property, that was my idea to open my salon over there, but things didn't work out that way. But yes, I'm still, that's my purpose, to fix the property, to put my business in there.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
It's your intention to demolish the dilapidated
Correct.
building and put up a nice new building, right?
Yes, yes.
All right. No other questions.
Does the board have any other questions for Ms. Lopez? All right, seeing none. Thank you, Ms. Lopez.
I'm going to call John DuPont.
Sure.
Do not raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And just state your full name.
John Paul DuPont.
Mr. DuPont, if you could just please just provide the board with a brief summary of your qualifications and background.
Certainly. I am a licensed professional engineer and planner in the state of New Jersey, as well as New York and Pennsylvania. I am also a certified municipal engineer. I've served for the Borough of Carteret Planning and Zoning Board Engineering for the last 25 years. I've been in front of this board numerous times.
And your licenses are current and in good standing?
They are.
And you want to be accepted as an engineer and planner?
Yes.
Okay, all right. We'll accept you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Right, Mr. DuPont, you've been retained by the applicant to provide the site plan for this proposed new building.
That is correct.
And just briefly, could you describe the condition of the existing property and then the surrounding area?
Yes. So, and I believe we passed out an exhibit 1 to the board. They're color photographs from Google Earth, but that were printed out in my office. So the existing property currently has a 1-story building on it that, as you heard, is operated by a psychic reader and is currently active. The existing building covers most of the lot, and it does have a 2-car garage in the rear. The building is old and in need of significant updates. The current property does have several existing zoning violations, and we'll go into detail on that later on in my testimony. But you see those color photos just to give you an idea of the condition of the property. Switch to the proposed.
Now, could you please describe what uses are in the area?
Oh yeah, yes, it's mixed use. Certainly, there's businesses, there's retail spaces, there's a lot of residential around the rear, but it's a mixed property, mixed area.
And in fact, across the street is a mixed-use building with quite a few apartments upstairs and commercial uses downstairs, correct?
Absolutely.
So this proposed use would be actually totally consistent with the area.
It's going to be exactly consistent with the area.
Right, could you please discuss the proposed use with the board?
Yes, and if I will, I'll go over my plans. Okay, so the board should have received 11 by 17 copies of the plan. It's the exact site plan that was submitted, just made it easier for you to see. I have my site plan up on the board, again, exactly what I submitted. And I'm going to go to sheet 304. So the applicant is proposing to demolish the existing building and construct a new 2-story building. This building will have a beauty salon on the first floor with 2 seats and a 2-bedroom apartment on the second floor. The second floor apartment, as you heard, will be occupied by the owner of the salon. In addition to the new building, the applicant's proposing 3 on-site parking spaces in the rear, landscaping, fencing, and overall improvement of the property. Now, the existing building, it's important to kind of give you an overview of what existing violations are there today. So under existing conditions, the minimum lot area is 7,500 square feet. It's 2,548 currently. The minimum lot width requires 50 feet. The existing is 25. The front yard setback requires 15. The existing is 14.9. The front yard setback required is 12 feet. Side yard setback, 12 feet. Existing is 2.47. The max building coverage, 30%. Currently, 67.8%. The max impervious coverage minimum required is 75%, or the maximum allowed is 75%. Currently, it's 77%. And the floor area ratio, maximum allowed is 0.3. Currently, it's 0.68. So as we go through the property, I just want to make sure we understand there's a lot of existing violations there today, and I'm going to go through. We're going to improve a lot of them, we're going to eliminate a lot of them, and we're going to ask for some relief. So things were not changing, lot area, lot width. A couple violations that we are eliminating. The front yard setback, we now are compliant and are proposed at 15 feet. The maximum impervious coverage, we are now compliant at 74%. Couple violations that we're improving. The side yard setback required 12 feet. We're getting 3 feet now, so we about a half foot additional. The max building coverage allowed was 30%. Existing was 67.9. We've moved it down to 48%. So an improvement there too. Now what we do need a D variance, as you heard, for the use. Residential unit on the second story is going to require use variance in the zone. Parking. We have a 2-seat salon and a 2-bedroom apartment. We need 8 spaces. We have 3 on site in the rear of the building. And we have an agreement with the funeral home, which I'm going to show you where that is, for 6 additional spaces. So we feel we meet the requirement, but I want to show you exactly where that site is. This is an exhibit. I think this is probably going to be A2. It's an aerial photograph of the area. And what it shows is our property, 2037 Woodbridge Avenue, at the corner of Russell and Woodbridge Avenue, shows our existing property, and it shows the funeral home, 2 properties down. It's a large parking lot, and that's where we're going to be able to park those additional cars. So I'll mark that A2. It's also a good map to show, as Mr. Shire said, about the mixed use of the neighborhood. Behind us, to the top of the page, residential, residential, residential. They're all residential homes. Across the street from us on Russell, mixed-use building. Convenience store on the bottom, apartments above, exactly like us. Across the street on Woodbridge Avenue, same thing. Convenience store on the bottom, apartments above. Our property with this salon and the apartment above will be a perfect fit for the neighborhood. So in the last variance we're going to ask for tonight is for floor area ratio.
DuPont, hold on a minute. Mr. Shire, we don't have A2. Yeah. And there's an agreement that's been referenced. I'm looking in my packet. Do we have an agreement? I don't see the agreement.
I'm sorry?
Home? You said there's an agreement with the funeral home for parking. Do we have that agreement?
You should. I sent it in.
Because I don't have it in my packet, and so I'm
I-
a little
I submitted
confused.
sufficient copies to the board, but I have some additional ones here if you want.
And we also don't have A2, so we'll need a smaller rendering of A2.
Okay. It's not. This is something new I brought tonight, which I will gladly leave with the board.
We don't have, I need to see the agreement.
We'll get the agreement, Skip. You have a copy of the agreement, and we'll get A2 digitally.
I sent it in September 20th of 2023, 15 copies of the agreement, but I do have one extra copy here.
If you have an extra copy, we'll make copies really quick. Thank you. I don't have.
All right, so Mr. Dupont, so what we're going to do is just keep the train running down the track.
Okay.
The secretary will make a copy for the board, and you can proceed.
Keep going? Very good. Okay, so we just started talking about floor area ratio. So as you heard, currently the site has a violation. The floor area ratio is 0.68%. Under our proposed conditions, it's 0.97%. Now it sounds versus 0.3 allowed. It sounds significant, and it is, but I'm going to go back to the site plan for a moment. I want to show you where that comes from. On such a small site, with the salon, and then an apartment above it, we shrunk the building, put a second story on it in order to fit the 3 parking spaces. I think it's, from an engineering standpoint, it's a great change of the building. 2 stories allowed in the zone, height's not an issue. We shrunk the footprint in the building. We fit 3 on-site parking spaces on a very small lot that currently has a FAR issue. It still has an FAR issue, but I think it's the right way to go from an engineering standpoint. So again, reducing that footprint, adding a second story seemed to make a lot of sense. The parking, the improvements, the landscaping, the screening, and the overall renovation of the site seem more important to us. The property is small to begin with. So we're a little handicapped in what we can and can't do. Now, review letters. We have two. We have a DNR review letter dated May 3rd. We can comply with everything, but there are a couple items I just want to touch on.
Mr. Carley. Mr. Carley, you just bring that a little closer to you. I want your fan base to hear you at home, so just bring that a little closer to you.
I think I have it on.
There you go. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, that's better.
So we can comply with everything.
Let me
Oh, yeah.
finish. To your point, you did have you do have our May 3, 2024 report. I hear the magic word from Mr. DuPont, but for the board's edification, I do tease out testimony that should be provided to the board.
And I'll go through a couple of those items I think Mr. Carley would like us to address. 2.3 was a discussion on how garbage will be handled on site. Garbage will be collected and kept in the building until garbage day, and then it can rolled out to the street. ADA accessibility. Two items here. One, Mr. Carley wants to make sure we show an ADA accessible path to the building. We certainly will do that. Two, there was a discussion about an ADA parking space, and that is comments 2.4 and 3.1. And when we looked at the ADA parking space, we agree we should have one, and we think a great spot would be to work along Russell Avenue. Work with the township, put a handicap accessible space alongside the building on Russell Avenue, and we would agree to condition that the township approves that handicap spot on the side as a condition of approval. The next comment was 3.2, location of off-site parking. We had showed you that exhibit is at the funeral home. Comments 6.3 and 6.4 was regarding utility connections. The applicant will utilize all the existing utility connections for the property. Now, 6.7, it was a comment about the applicant should TV and clean the sanitary sewer main, the township sanitary sewer main along the front of the property to make sure it's functioning properly and has no issues. For such a small case, I would agree that we would TV and clean the sewer lateral for the property for sure. I don't think it's really fair to ask that the applicant TV and clean the sewer main in the street. I will bow to Mr. Carley's advice on that. And then 9.1 is there's no signage proposed at this time, and that's correct. There is no signage proposed at this time. That was it for Mr. Carr's letter. Everything else seemed to be straightforward and we could comply with it all.
Mr. Carley?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would say relative to inspecting the sewer line out front, I would say get a good idea of what your lateral looks like to the main. If there's any blockages that you see at the main, then obviously you're going to repair them, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you. And the other professional review or report we had was Big Now Planning dated August 21st. We can comply with the entire letter. There was, however, one item that we should provide testimony to. Mr. Bignell's comment H, he would like a traffic statement. And we have a 2-seat salon and a 2-bedroom apartment that the owners will occupy and work. We think there'll be little to no impact at all on traffic, especially since today a psychic reader operation is currently existing on a property with no issue. So we're not introducing an intense use. There'll be no impact on traffic. And I think, unless the board has questions, that's it for my engineering testimony.
Mr. McNeil.
Thank you, Chairman. Just have a couple quick comments and questions for you, Mr. DuPont. For item B, the engineering plans just have to be updated to show that a 2-bedroom is proposed.
Absolutely.
For the off-street parking space, off-site parking spaces, is there going to be a sign saying like additional parking 2 lots over? Like, how would the patrons know where the additional parking is going to be? I think
signage would be fine. We would definitely propose some signage for that to your office for your approval.
Okay.
No problem with that.
Moving on. We recommend for item D, I believe you said you comply, but residential parking spaces should be dedicated with signs that for the apartment use. That should be part of the on-site spaces, not.
We could certainly mark that like a, apartment space. Absolutely identify. Yes, absolutely will.
Because the two-bedroom apartment would now require 2 spaces.
That's correct.
And I imagine you don't have any information yet on the pipeline ordinance?
I don't yet, but we will certainly send out those letters, the pipeline letters.
Okay, thank you, that's all I have.
Thank you.
Mr. McNeil, the point H in Mr. DuPont's response regarding the traffic statement, are you in agreement with this proposal?
Yeah, I agree that it's not really going to generate that much extra traffic.
Okay.
But he put his testimony on record saying that, so we can accept that.
Okay, all right, thank you. And then, Mr. DuPont, point G, I may have missed this, garbage and recycling.
Both will be kept inside the building.
Okay.
Until garbage day and brought out.
Okay, all right, so there'll be no dumpster or anything like that?
No dumpster.
Okay, all right. So that completes your direct? Okay.
It does for engineering.
All right, so I'm going to go to the board to see if they have any engineering-related questions for you with regard. Does the board have any engineering questions for Mr. DuPont?
Mr. Chair.
Ms. Chhabra?
Mr. DuPont, what will prevent the clients from parking alongside the frontage on Russell Avenue? We have 100-foot frontage there. Are we proposing some kind of signs there, yellow line curb or such?
No, I would let them park there. That's open parking, of legal parking. I would have no problem with them parking there.
Okay, so they're allowed to park alongside the whole property.
Yes.
Keep in mind that there's a fire hydrant there, correct?
Well, if I were to, they wouldn't, but today they're allowed to park, and that wouldn't change.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And Mr. DuPont, you had, actually, I'm glad Mr. Chhabra asked the question because it triggered a question I had written. So the proposed handicap spot was going to be on the street? You're going to?
That's right.
Okay.
We would work with the township. Township have to agree, and we have to do it in coordination with.
Okay, so you'd agree that would be a condition of approval?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. Does the board have any other questions for Mr.
Yeah,
DuPont?
Mr. Chairman. So this application is for a 2-chair salon, right?
Correct.
And I'm looking at the plan. You have 2 hair dry stations, 3 hair wash stations, 4 hair styling stations. You have wax room. You have 8-space waiting room. What are you expecting here? What kind of operation you guys are doing here?
I think you're going to hear from an architect for the inside of the building.
Okay. Because you're telling me it's 2 seats times 3, 6 parking space, plus you're telling me it's a 1-bedroom times 1.8. It's a 2-bedroom apartment on the top.
It's 2 bedroom.
So it's a 2 times 1.8 is almost 3.6. So your parking calculation does not make sense. You only need 7 spaces.
The 2-bedroom apartment will require 2 spaces as per RSIS, and the salon requires 5. According to
All right, I need to
two-seat
hear
salon.
that, board need to hear the testing, why only 6 parking spaces that you said at any given time? What kind of operation there?
And Mr. DuPont, if that's something that can be handled, or Mr. Shire, if that's something that could be handled through the architect's testimony.
If you would like to hear how the salon operates based on the questions about how many different stations there are, my client who operates a salon can answer them if you would like those answers right now.
Okay, let's not play musical chairs. Does the board have any other questions for Mr. DuPont with regard to engineering? Ms. Brown.
Mr. DuPont, minor question on the garbage that's going to be held until garbage day. I think that was the testimony.
Yes.
I looked at the floor plan. The only place that you could really store garbage would be in this mop closet. Is that where you were intending to put the garbage?
Yeah, I think the architect's going to address that too. He has a location in the building for it. He's going to address that in his testimony.
Because we're not seeing it.
That's right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Okay. All right. You can take a break.
Yep.
You'll be back.
I'll call Ms. Lopez back to answer the board member's question.
Thank you, Mr. Shire.
You're still under oath. There's a question that there are only 2 seats for the beauticians, and you also have hair washing stations and hair drying stations. That's common to all beauty salons, right?
Yes, normally when you have a customer that you're putting color in, I'm sorry, I'm talking a bit too much. Normally you're working with one person, but you have another person processing with color or highlights or another service or maybe keratin or something else. So that's the reason you need more than one station. Even though these 2 people working, like my daughter and I, we worked together for years, but we have more than one station because where do you want to put out the customer? So you have to have a station where you can put it in and let it process.
How many employees?
Excuse me? It's
How
only
many
me and my daughter.
employees?
It's me and my daughter. Sometimes we use that. We have like a shampoo person that comes and helps out, but only when we need it.
And at any given time, how many clients you're expecting to be in the salon?
All depends. I mean, sometimes you can have 3, 4. Sometimes you can have 4. You can have 1. With this business, you never know how many customers you will handle at one time. Even though we work with appointments, sometimes people cancel, sometimes they don't show up, and it's different. It's difficult for me to tell exactly how many people are going to be in the salon at one time.
So you say you had 2 seats salon, so you had 2 hair dry stations, you have 4 hair styling stations.
Yeah, now I have 4 too, and I have 5 hair dryers. I have 3 shampoo station.
So okay, so hair styling station, it's not 2, it's 4, correct?
Excuse me?
The hair styling stations are 4 and not 2, correct?
It's 2 people working, but we need more space to work with the customers.
I don't get it. You have 4 stations, and you are saying only 2 people would be working there? You have 4 stations?
Yeah, because normally when we put color in one person, right, that person takes like a 45 minutes, 30 minutes to process. So we need a station to sit that person in there while we are working with somebody else, or maybe we're just waiting for that person.
And you have 3 hair wash stations for 2 seats?
Yeah, because sometimes, you know what it is? Sometimes you wash the hair out and you have put a toner in one person and she has to stay there processing too. Or maybe that's a relaxer. You cannot wait for the other person to move out of the chair to wash it out. You have to wash it right away. If you know, you're going to lose the hair.
And you have waiting area for couches that accommodate 8 seats.
That's for the person that's waiting.
So at any given time, how many people you are expecting, how many cars you are expecting there at the salon? Simple question.
Like I told you before, it could be 2, it could be 3, it could be 4. Sometimes I have 2 people, my daughter has 2 people. Sometimes I have 1 and she has 2. It's hard to tell me exactly how many people I'm expecting because I don't know.
So you are telling me that at any given time, you will not have more than 4 clients in the salon?
We could be 4, it could be 1, it could be 5.
Now, I'm just asking simple question. What are you expecting as a business? How many people are you expecting so that we can come up with how many parking spot you need?
At least 4 people.
And sometimes parents.
Sometimes it could be more.
Sometimes a parent would bring a child.
That's true. With the husband or with the mom.
Okay, Mr. Chairman.
Just hang on one second, Mr. Brown. So, Mr. Dave, I'm going to float an option to you, and then we'll float it by the applicant, see if it worked for them. So, would you be willing to offer them a condition that there be no more than 2 stylists at any time?
That's exactly what I'm trying to say. 2 stylists, no more than 4 clients at any given time.
Okay. Mr. Shire.
That there only be 2 stylists? Absolutely.
And no more than 4 clients, right?
Well,
you only have 6. You only have 6 space.
Well, we have 9 spaces right now. We have 6 at the funeral home and 3 on the property. But sometimes if a parent brings their child, there would have to be a place for 2 people to sit, even though there's only 1 client.
And the 2 would be taken by them as a resident for their apartment.
No, they would only be taking care of the child.
No, we're talking about, so there's 2 spaces that are associated with residential use. Okay? So take those 2 spaces.
Right.
Take it out of the equation.
Okay.
For
and that we would have 7 left after that.
And not only that, some people, they don't travel only with one person. Sometimes people, they come like a three or four people in the same car. They don't come everybody in different cars. Sometimes the family come together, one maybe a trim, and the other one a color, and that one something else, maybe a brown done, and they come together. They don't come separate.
So there will, at any given time, there will not be more than 7 cars at the salon.
More than 7 cars?
Yeah.
No, talking about the families come together sometimes.
No, I get it. I'm talking
Then it's only
parking
one
space.
person. It's only one car.
I'm trying to, I just don't want an overflow parking on the streets.
I understand what you're saying.
What he's asking you is, will the 9 spaces be enough
Yeah, it
for
will
the
be
number of
enough.
people that'll be
course.
there?
Would you agree to a condition that there only be no more than 2 stylists?
The 2 stylists, absolutely.
So if so approved, you'd agree to that as a
Yes.
condition? Okay.
All right.
Mr. Brown?
I think it's Ms. Lopez.
Yes?
How long are you working with your daughter now, currently?
Oh, my God. 12 years.
How long?
12 years.
12 years?
Yes.
And you're still talking? No, I'm kidding.
Sometimes we don't, but most of the time we do.
Where are you working now currently?
Right now it's on 863 Somerset Street in Somerset. Before that, I had my salon in 84 Veronica Avenue. But then we moved.
Okay. Just minor questions, but I respect the continuity of, mom, daughter, business, family, living. So I just want just clarify a couple of things. So thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Does the board have any other questions for Ms. Lopez? All right, so I actually have one. So with regard to the apartment above, if so approved, would you agree to a condition that the apartment at all times be occupied by the owner-operator downstairs?
Yes, we agree.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay.
We'll call Robert Hernandez, our architect.
Excuse me.
Hernandez, you need a microphone. You raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Please state your full name for the record.
Roberto A. Hernandez. I've been a registered architect since 2012, 2011. The first 10 years of my work experience was working for Thomas Bayo, architect in Millburn, New Jersey. And then I opened up my shop in 2012. So I've been practicing for 12 years on my own.
And you've appeared before this board prior?
Multiple times.
Yes. And your license are current and in good standing?
Yes, I am.
All right, we'll accept you. You can proceed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before I go over the plans, I just want to tell you what my experience is. I'm not shy to say that I go to hair salons with my wife and my daughter because I pay the bills, to nail salons. And when people when there's a woman that goes and do her nails, many times she does not go on her own. She goes with the daughter, she goes with her sister, and you need seating space for people like me. Actually, I've built good relationship with the guy that does the nails on my wife because I go there. We have nothing to do. We do everything together. My daughter's in college, so that's really something that happens all the time. And who has control over who goes into a salon? I never make an appointment with my barber. If I'm driving around
I'm not
the area.
I'm not going to interrupt you, but I'm sorry to interrupt you. But
Yeah.
if you could just keep your testimony to the architectural.
Sure.
Thank you.
So the building, I think, has the same size as the original building. It is 22 foot wide, 56 foot deep. It's a two-story building we're proposing. Each floor has 1,232 square foot each. I think you raised a question as to what the floor area ratio would be if it was only a one-floor building. The FAR would be 48.35. Now, this is the first time I come to a meeting regarding this project. I never took part in the TRC meeting, so these plans have not changed at all since the day that these plans were submitted originally. But I did take into account having 2 means of egress from every floor, meaning that, God forbid, in the event of a fire, you have 2 exits on the first floor, on the salon. That would be the front door and the rear door. It has been brought to my attention that this door may be, being that it's almost in the center of the back wall, that it may interrupt with a parking space. So I'm willing to shift the door down towards Russell Avenue and just redesign this area here to still be able to accommodate my water heater and HVAC unit. From the back, we also have stairs, the convenient stairs that go up to the second floor apartment. On the first floor, I think you asked about garbage. So I think I'm going to change this note here that says coat closet and put the garbage bin here on the first floor. Almost directly out to the outside. And the same thing I will do on the common area of the second floor. There's a mop closet. There's a wall-mounted water heater. I'm gonna relocate it elsewhere because it's wall-mounted. It doesn't use up a lot of space. And I'll do the garbage bin for the second floor apartment right on this closet here. The second floor is comprised of 2 bedrooms, roughly the same size. One is 12 by 13.2. Sorry, my glasses on. One is 12 feet by 13.2. The second bedroom is 11'6" by 13.2, not taking into account the 2-foot deep closet. One of the bedrooms has a walk-in closet. There's 1 bathroom. There's 2 bathrooms on the second floor. One is the private bathroom for the master bedroom, and the second bathroom is a hallway accessible bathroom. You can also notice that we have a second means of egress. In the event of a fire, you have 2 ways out of that apartment. Washer dryer unit in a closet, and then we just have an open concept living, dining, kitchen area towards the back, in front of the rear stairs, and a food closet. As far as the AC condensers, I have 2 places where I can locate that because I know that that was brought up also. I can create a flat spot on the roof so that we can put the 2 AC condensers there, or I can hang them from the back wall. I can just cantilever them, create a landing cantilevered off the back wall and put both condensers there. So I'll now jump into the exterior views. Our intent was to make the building look very residential, because the nature of the neighborhood is mostly residential looking. So in the front, we're designing with like storefront door windows. We're doing stucco just on the elevation facing Woodbridge Avenue. The side elevations would be vinyl siding. The roof is like a typical hip roof. And we have small aprons roofs over the front and rear door of the building. The building is going to be constructed over a crawl space, so that the reason for not wanting to have a basement is I don't want to deal with water table issues during the construction. And at the same time, if our intention is to improve the building and have ADA accessibility, we want that door to be pretty much flat on the ground within half-inch threshold from outside to inside. So I'm open for questions.
Does the board have any questions, Mr. Hernandez?
Yeah, so the question remains that the existing FAR is 0.68, required is 0.30, you're expecting 0.97. My question was that if you remove the apartment, what is the FAR?
Yes, the FAR would be, if the apartment was removed, we would have the 1,232 square foot of the first floor divided by the lot area, which is 2548.10, and you end up with 48.35%.
Okay. All right, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Does the board have any other questions for Mr. Hernandez? Seeing none? Thank you, Mr. Hernandez.
And recall Mr. DuPont.
Mr. Dupont, you're still under oath.
Thank you.
Mr. DuPont, you've also been retained by the owner applicant to give testimony as a planner, correct?
That is correct.
And obviously, you've reviewed the existing conditions and the proposal from an engineering standpoint. Have you also done that from a planning standpoint?
Correct.
From a planning standpoint, what does the current situation of the property look like?
Okay, so we talked briefly about all the existing violations, and there's numerous. I'll briefly touch on them again, then we'll get into the proposed. But this property today has a lot area, lot width, minimum front yard, side yard setback, max building coverage, max impervious coverage, and FAR. All violations exist today. And the property is functioning. Now, on the proposed conditions, we're going to address the 3 new variances, but I do want to make sure we, again, just emphasize that we are eliminating the front yard setback variance and the maximum impervious coverage variance. And we are reducing the severity of the side yard setback and the maximum building coverage. We're making significant improvements to the site. This building covers almost the entire site today. It's dilapidated. It's almost in complete disrepair. We're proposing a brand new building with a good use, low intensity, with an owner-occupied apartment above it. It makes a lot of sense. But the first variance, the first D variance, is for a residential apartment on that property. The addition of the 2-bedroom apartment above the salon requires a use variance. The apartment will be occupied by the salon owner, as you've heard. There will be no increase in intensity or traffic on the property. The applicant simply wants to operate their salon and live above it with their daughter. By operating the salon below and living above, it serves as a great ancillary use. This will allow the applicant to revitalize the site and provide a good service to the neighborhood without intense traffic. Now the FAR, we've heard a lot of discussion about the FAR. So floor area ratio, as you know, is meant to control the commercial development and intensity. For a D4 variance, the applicant must demonstrate that the site can accommodate the problems associated with the proposed use with a larger floor area than permitted by ordinance. The fact that the project reduces several existing violations and the apartment, which causes the increase in FAR, will be utilized by the salon owner, makes it obvious that the intensity will not be increased by that apartment. And certainly will be less than suggested by the basic floor area calculation. We're not a builder putting a business on the first floor and putting a 4-rent apartment on the second floor and doubling that traffic. That's not what this is. We've already agreed to conditions of approval. You have the salon owner and daughter are going to live above it and work it. So there's not double intensity there. The apartment does not equate to increased intensity, and quite frankly, it's a great ancillary use. So the FAR in existing is 0.67 or 0.68. So it's over double what your ordinance allows. But it's a narrow, small lot, right? We know this. That building's been there forever. We're proposing, we shrunk the building, and we just put a second story on. We provided on-site parking. We're giving you screening, fencing, on-site parking, and a total new building. So yes, does our number go up to 0.97? It certainly does. Is it a better alternative, better zoning alternative? Absolutely is. We provide the on-site parking and we improve the building. This is not a typical FAR where a builder's overpacking a site. Now parking, you've heard about that. According to your ordinance, our parking calc, we are required to have 8 spaces. That's your parking calc. We provide 3 on site, as you heard. We have an agreement for 6 off-site. As one of the board members said to us, or brought up earlier, Russell Avenue, you could park on Russell Avenue as well. This is not going to be intensive use. There's plenty of parking in very close proximity, even the funeral home site. And the apartment alone doesn't increase the intensity of parking either. Now, positive criteria. So we look at the MLUL and what purposes are advanced by the project. Purpose A, we're proposing to revitalize a property with a new building and related site improvements on an existing undersized lot, providing a service to community while not creating an intensive use. In addition, we are eliminating several existing violations. Purpose G, we again are violating that property. We fit well within the zone. This is a mixed-use zone. I know it's what is labeled as in the residential component requires use variance. Make no mistake about it. This is a mixed-use zone. Everything around it, we're going to fit perfectly in that area. Yeah. Purpose I, we're taking that building that is outdated and constructing a brand new facility with significant improvements. It's going to improve the neighborhood. It's certainly today an eyesore. And if you've seen the pictures we passed out, and if you've driven by the property, you know what the building looks like. Brand new building going to fit in there. It's going to look great for the neighborhood. Negative criteria, I don't see any negative results of this project. It's in my opinion this project will benefit the neighborhood. And it's low intensity use that fits it extremely well. The variance can be granted without substantial detriment to the public good. The benefits of the project are clear and substantially outweigh any detriments. And granting the variance will not impair the intent or purpose of your zone plan or your zoning ordinance. And that does, unless the board has questions, complete my planning testimony.
Board have any planning questions for Mr. DuPont?
Yeah, one question,
Mr.
Mr. Chair. This letter that we received is on, it's not on the funeral home letterhead. Are we getting a real agreement? Is it for the lifetime? It is for 1 year, 2 year, 5 year? What does it say? This does not say anything. They can be canceled tomorrow.
If the board wants to make a condition of approval that we get something with a time span on it, we will agree to that.
What would prefer board? Lifetime? 10 years, 15 years? Mr. Chairman?
Does the board have any input? My gut's telling me 20.
As long as the building operates as a salon.
Correct. Mr. Shire?
We would agree.
Okay. Okay. All right. Does the board have any other planning questions for Mr. DuPont? Mr. DuPont, did you do any comparables as to similar FAR within the area?
I did not. This is by far the smallest lot in the area, so I didn't compare them.
Okay. But there are similar uses in the area where there's ground floor commercial and top floor residential?
We are surrounded by mixed use.
Okay.
And residential to the rear, complete residential to the rear.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No? Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. DuPont.
That is the applicant's case. I guess we can now open to the public.
Okay. Thank you for permission. All right, so we'll now go to the public. So if there's anyone here present within 200, we're going to start within 200 feet of the subject site who want to be heard. If you're within 200 feet of the subject site, you received a letter via certified mail. All members of the public will have 6 minutes for any commentary on the application being proposed. And you may approach.
Sir, would you raise your right hand? You solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state your full name for the record and your address.
Charles Felix Hess, 12 Russell Avenue, Edison, New Jersey.
Okay. You may proceed. You can put your hand down. Thank you.
Just a few. Hess, H-E-S-S. Mr. Shiar, you mentioned earlier that you had driven through Russell Avenue today. Can I ask what time you drove through, roughly?
Roughly lunchtime.
Lunchtime, okay. I just want to bring that up because the mixed-use building on the corner there of Russell and Woodbridge is Craig's Deli 2, and it does considerable business during the hours of 6 to 3 p.m. There's regulars in the area who come by, park on the street, in the parking on site, as well on Woodbridge, Russell. There's the employees from the waste management of the township. They will often park their trucks along the road as well. And I think that there's a lot of traffic that just comes from that one business alone. As well, Russell Avenue, despite being a one-way, sees a lot of through traffic from Woodbridge as people cut through trying to skip through the light at Woodbridge and Plainfield take a right on Lillian straight over to Plainfield. So there's quite a lot of traffic that comes through there, in addition to just people coming the wrong way on this one-way road. I also just want to, I'd like to ask you, Mr. DuPont, that there would be possibly any signage or any prevention of customers parking along Russell Avenue in front of my residence. I directly border the lot in question.
Well, I think parking that is allowed to be, public parking currently on Russell would still be able to be utilized by anybody from the public.
Understood. That is all the questions I have. Thank you.
Do you have any commentary?
No, nothing that hasn't already been said. No.
Okay, thank you very much for coming. We
Thank
appreciate it. Anyone else within 200 feet of subject site wanting to be heard? Ma'am, please approach.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And please state your full name for the record. If you could just pull the microphone closer, yeah. Thank you.
Amanda Lee Kastrak,
And your address, please.
12 Russell Ave.
Kaschak.
My question is for Mr. DuPont. What are you going to do about the buffer between my driveway and the lot that's going to be put in?
Are you immediately adjacent to the property? So that's the rear of our property. We have a planting strip and fence proposed along that property.
How far away is it going to be from my property?
Our planting strip is about we have a 4-foot planting strip from our property into ours with a row of planting.
My second question would be regarding I know you said that they could park publicly on our road, which I'm kind of against, as I do have people who live with us besides me and my husband who are on the road, so that's going to take up parking for our people who live in our home. So I don't think it's fair for you to assume that people can just park in front when I do have people who live with me.
I understand if the township wanted to restrict parking, they could certainly do that. The township committee.
Would that be something that's possible, that we can make it?
That is beyond our jurisdiction. So the way it would work, and Ms. Shaw can correct me if I'm wrong. Every once in a while I'm wrong. Ms. Shaw can correct me if I'm wrong. That's something where the residents would have to petition the township council so as to change it to no parking. Ms. Shaw?
He's correct.
Oh, see, every once in a while. Yeah, so it's not something that we have the jurisdiction on.
Understood. My only other concern is the parking with the funeral home. I understand it's a few lots away. I just don't think that people are going to walk all that way and they're all just going to be in the traffic. It is a one-way street. It's very busy. It's also a bus stop for children on the corner directly across the street. I just don't think that having a bunch of cars there would be a good idea. That's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you very much for coming out. We appreciate it.
Mr. Chairman,
You can't.
so the one-way traffic is from funeral home to the corner?
No.
From the corner to your funeral home going that way?
Ma'am, if you can come back up to the microphone. Sorry. Just come back to the microphone.
Where the building is going to be, or is currently, all of Russell is a one-way street heading down. So if you are on Woodbridge Ave, you would pass by the front of the building, make the left onto Russell. That is a one-way street.
Got it.
But Woodbridge is both ways.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Chairman.
you very much. Anyone else within 200 feet wanting to be heard? Last call, anyone outside, within 200 feet want to be heard? Anyone outside 200 feet want to be heard? Sir?
So raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state your full name, provide your address.
Scott Kaschak, Kaschak. I'm at 27 Meeker Avenue, Edison. I do have a question about the parking that's going to be on site. How is the drainage, Mr. Dupont, going to work? Is it going to drain towards Russell Avenue?
Towards Russell, yes.
Okay, so it'll be graded. It's not going to go onto my daughter's and my son-in-law's property?
Correct.
Okay, is there going now? You said there's going to be a fence that's going to be on between the driveway and back of the property.
Yes, fence and a planting strip.
Is that fence going to impede backing out of their driveway onto Russell Avenue so they can be able to see down the street?
No, I don't think it would be at all. I don't think it would go there at all. Me backing out here out of their driveway?
Yes.
It's back feet away from the sidewalk, so there should be sight distance. If there was a site issue too, Mr. Crowley wanted us to pull that back, we certainly would do that.
Okay. And the on-site parking, are they going to be able to turn around in there, or they'll be backing out as well?
Backing out, like a regular driveway.
Okay. So as I said, it is a lot of traffic on that street, and it might be a little perilous as sometimes cars could do come down the wrong way. So there's got to be, it might be a safety issue with that. The other question I have about the ADA parking on the street.
Right.
How will that actually work? It's a one-way street. They're going to have to be out into the street if they have a wheelchair or something to get out of their driveway or their driver's side door.
Well, the town could do a couple of things, and we'd work with them. The town could modify the curb. They could hatch the area. They can make physical restrictions, physical changes to the curb line, and we've done that before.
Right, but the car or the van is going to be parked into Russell Avenue so they can get out of the driver's side.
Or if they want to go on the passenger side. So a handicap spot requires 8 and 8, so we would make sure 8 and 8 were provided.
Yeah, so it gets narrow over there with Craig's Deli and the way the cars park over there. It's just.
Well, if we had to move the sidewalk, the curb line in the township would do that, we'd certainly have no issue with that.
Thank you. All right, everything else has been answered. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. We appreciate it. Anyone else from outside 200 feet wanting to be heard? Last call. Anyone from outside 200 feet wanting to be heard? Can I get a motion to close the public portion?
Motion to close public portion.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Patel, second by Mr. Cerrito. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Public portion is now closed. Mr. Shire, I don't know if you have any summation, but also I believe Ms. Shah has brought to your attention, I just want to put on record, we only have 6 board members present this evening, so it's up to you how you want to proceed.
I would like just a moment to confer with my clients, and I would like just a few moments to give us a brief summation to the board.
Absolutely. So you want to take the couple minutes first?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, so we'll give you 3 minutes.
No, stay by your.
We're going to return to session. Mr. Shire.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I spoke with my clients, and they would like to wait until they can have 7 board members vote. I would like to sum up at this time, and of course, we'll have a transcript provided to the board.
Okay, that's fine.
All right, Mr. Chairman and members of the board, the property in question, I think everyone would agree, is in terrible shape. When I went down and inspected it, it looks like something that should have been declared an area in need of redevelopment, to be honest with you. My client is willing to go through great expense to knock down the structure, which looks like it'll fall down in a few years if they don't knock it down, and build a brand new building, which will be a great benefit to the area. As far as the major variances which are concerned, as to the use of an apartment, the entire area is residential, and Woodbridge Avenue itself is filled with mixed commercial, downstairs residential, upstairs, exactly what we're proposing. So it would be entirely consistent with the area and a great benefit. It's a low-intensity use. It's a small use. It's a narrow piece of property, and it's probably the best thing that can happen to that piece of property. Otherwise, it's going to continue to be a blight. The applicant has agreed to whatever conditions the board has imposed, and will, agree to operate it as no more than 2 hairstylists. Have adequate parking, and it looks like a win-win for everybody. The FAR is already significantly in violation, so in order to make the property work, we are increasing it to some degree, but we're decreasing some of the other violations. It appears to be a situation where it's going to be low intensity. It's going to be a tremendous aesthetic improvement to the area. I didn't hear anybody say that they like what's there now. So I believe it is absolutely appropriate for the board to grant the variances requested and get this property in shape. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. All right, Madam Secretary.
We have available September 24th, if that works for you and your applicant.
September 24th? That's fine.
Okay, so we'll go September 24th, just down for a vote only.
Just for a vote only.
Okay. All right. So for anyone here present, for anyone listening at home, this case will be carried until September 24th, 2024 at 7 p.m. in council chambers. If you have received a notice, you will not receive an additional notice. This will serve as your notice. So we'll see you on September 24th. Thank you very much. Can you answer him?
I'm sorry.
It's just a vote only.
It is just for a vote only. There will be no further testimony nor commenting. Oh. Okay, no, mine's back. Okay, that will be only for a vote. There will be no testimony, and there will be no further comment.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Battery down. Bear with me, Chairman. Battery died. Give me that one.
Yeah. It's not. Yeah, it's not. It's something like this. Yeah, usually you get like.
This is the low one.
Yeah. When you do this, you can say that it works, but when you speak,
Can I grab a microphone?
Yes, please. Yes.
Yeah, you can sit here for now, and then Sam, you're done. Oh. I thought you took that. Got that
Madam Secretary, next case on the agenda.
Case number Z19, 2024, Edison Land Investment, LLC, 997 US Route 1. Applicant is proposing to install 2 new signs on the facade of the existing building. The following standards have not been met. Facade signage dimensions required is 7 by 3, proposed is 49 by 4 times 3, and 28 by 10 by 1 by 9. Affected property falls under the Ford Plant Redevelopment Plan and is designated as block number 198.12, lot number 37.12 on the Edison Township tax map. All noticing paperwork is in order.
Good evening.
Thank you and good evening. My name is Jay Radican with Harts Mountain Industries. That's the parent company for the applicant, Edison Land Investment. I think you're probably all familiar with the Edison Town Square project that Harts has developed and continues to develop on the site. One of our tenants there is the existing iFly indoor skydiving facility, and that was approved by the planning board a couple of years ago. It's now been in operation for some time, and we are here to ask for some additional facade signage for that existing operation, really to enhance the visibility and really the understanding to the public of what iFly is, and also to bring the signage more in line with typical iFly facilities throughout the area. I have 2 witnesses here tonight, Justin Waldron from iFly and Sam Bellamy, who's a professional planner who will address the standards for the variance. I should note that the signage, the additional signage, will be internally illuminated in a manner consistent with the requirements of the local ordinances. And really, as you'll hear from Mr. Bellamy, should be minimal, if any, impacts to the public. But with that, I'd like to get started and present our first witness, Justin Waldron, to my right. I'm sorry?
Lamar.
Lamar? Oh, I'm sorry. Why did I say Waldron? I'm sorry. I know. My apologies.
Yeah, it's okay.
You want to bring Justin Lamar up?
Yeah, sure. So, hi, I'm Justin Lamar. Been with iFly for...
Hold on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And use the microphone. Please state your full name for the record.
So I'm Justin Lawar. Been with iFly for about 12 years. I'm the Northeast area manager for these 4 facilities up here.
You may proceed.
All right. I'm just going to ask you, Mr. Lawar, to describe, you just gave your title, but what you do and a little bit about what iFly does.
Yeah, so we're an indoor skydiving facility. It's a vertical wind tunnel. So we have a wall-to-wall column of air that you come in, you float on, and we have an instructor that kind of guides you through the entire process. So it simulates actual free fall from 13,500 feet. The timing and everything's about the same. Even skydivers come in and actually use our facility. But we're primarily, we facilitate an experience for families, young kids, just indoor sports in general.
Thank you. And what are the hours of operation generally?
About 9 to 6.
Thank you. And you're familiar with the application and the particular signage that we're asking for this application?
Yes, very.
And why is it that iFly would like that additional signage?
Well, these last 2 facilities, we haven't built wind tunnels since about 4 or 5 years ago. And these are the 2 new facilities that we just opened this last year. And I don't know why we did it this way, but we did not put indoor skydiving on the facility itself. All of the other locations that we have. And this is such a niche sport and activity that a lot of people don't understand exactly what iFly is. So currently, we just have the logo and iFly on the front, so it kind of doesn't give a descriptor of what it is. So right now, we're doing okay, but we could be doing substantially better. So
thank you. And the building is set back a bit from the Route 1 frontage along this the former Ford redevelopment area?
Correct.
All right. So the signage would also just help enhance the visibility of the project and help identify people who might be trying to find it.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, that's all I have for this witness.
Does the board have any questions? Seeing none, thank you very much.
All right, thank you. My next witness? Yeah, please. That's right.
Sir, would you
Is-
raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, I do.
And state your full name for the record.
Samuel Bellamy, last name Bellamy.
Thank you. We'll be qualifying Mr. Bellamy as an expert in the field of professional planning. So I'll just ask Mr. Bellamy to please give us the benefit of your educational professional background.
Sure, I'm a licensed professional planner with the firm Dresner Robin. I have a New Jersey professional planner's license, also accredited with the American Institute of Certified Planners. I have a master's in city regional planning from Rutgers University. I've testified frequently before boards, including the Edison Planning Board, South Brunswick, South Plainfield, and many others.
First time before this board?
In front of this board, yes.
All right, well, welcome.
Thank you.
And your licenses are current and in good standing?
Yes, current and in good standing.
All right, great. You have to tell the planning board next time before them about how much better job we do here.
Will do.
All right, you may proceed.
We don't play favorites. We appear before both boards.
We do.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bellamy. If you would, you're familiar with the project, the nature of the application this evening, is that right?
Yeah, I did review all the project materials, the redevelopment plan. I also made a site visit prior to my testimony tonight.
All right, thank you. And do you have an opinion as to whether or not this board can grant the variances required, or I'm sorry, requested under the appropriate legal standards?
Yeah, I think the bulk variances are within this board's jurisdiction.
All right, if you would please give us your rationale for your conclusions.
Sure. So the variance request tonight is for the secondary facade signage. There are 3 existing signs currently on the building that fall within the primary facade signage. So we're asking for one sign to be 49 feet by 3 inches, 49 feet and 3 inches by 3 feet, and the other to be 28 feet and 10 inches by 1 foot 9 inches. So what's permitted in the redevelopment plan for secondary facade signs is 7 feet by 3 feet. The signage itself is consistent with the maximum height that's permitted for that secondary facade signage, but it's the length of the sign itself that's exceeding your dimension requirement within the Ford Assembly redevelopment plan area. Going back to the primary signage, there is a 10% maximum permitted for primary signage. The existing signage itself, currently there's one iFly sign with a logo that faces Route 1. That meets the 10% facade sign on that area. The north and south facing signs or facing Topgolf and Chick-fil-A, those are both within under the 10% maximum. So overall, the signage area with what's being added to what's currently there is still within that maximum permitted. But given this is considered a secondary signage, it's in different locations, we are asking for the variance relief tonight. The property itself is approximately 260 feet away from Route 1. The minimum required setback in the redevelopment plan area is 50 feet. So you do have some properties, some buildings that are closer to Route 1. Those are the Tommy's, Starbucks, Chipotle, and Tio, I think are closer to the highway, where this property is really more interior to the property itself. It's further back, really adjacent to the Topgolf. So it is further from the Route 1 frontage. The additional signage will add additional visibility for both vehicles traveling down Route 1 as well as vehicles within the Edison Town Square complex itself. Overall, it's my opinion the signage is appropriate and is consistent. It's proportional to what's permitted and intended with the redevelopment plan requirements. And also the addition of just indoor skydiving provides a clear indication of what the use and type of facility is as compared to just the existing iFly branding with the logo. So it's really to provide some clear indication of the use within the building. I think this project is consistent with the municipal land use law. It's appropriate signage for the permitted indoor recreation facility, and will continue to guide the appropriate use and development of the property consistent with Purpose A. I think it's also consistent with Purpose I, and will provide a creative development technique and good design here. Again, I think the signage is appropriate and consistent with the overall kind of mixed-use district and commercial district that's being created here within the Edison Town Square area. As far as the variance relief itself, I do think the benefits here would outweigh the detriments, meeting the C2 flexible standard as far as the variance relief. Going to the negative criteria, I don't see any substantial detriment to the general welfare here. Again, it's an appropriate signage consistent with the overall theme, the kind of the cluster of commercial facilities with the Topgolf and the Supercharge area. I think it's overall consistent with that branding and type of use. The nearest residential neighborhood, it's over 800 feet to the north, so I don't think the signage will even be visible from any sensitive areas. The signage will be internally illuminated, but it will not be flashing or moving in any sense, so I don't think there's any negative impacts there. And then I don't see any nuisance impacts as far as glare on adjacent properties. It's really surrounded by parking lots and internal driveways, so there's no sensitive neighbors directly next door. Likewise, I don't see any substantial impairment to the zone plan or zoning ordinance. Again, this is permitted use, it's appropriate signage, and overall promotes the purpose of the redevelopment plan and master plan for that matter. With that, I think both the positive and negative criteria have been met here. And if there's, unless Mr. Radican has any questions for me, that would conclude my direct testimony.
Thank you. I have nothing else for the witness, so I'll turn it over to the board.
Thank you. All right, so Mr., have you received the Bignell planning report?
Yes, I did receive and review.
All right, and you're willing to comply?
Yeah, there were, let me take a look at it. I don't believe there were any conditions other than asking for some testimony on the, supporting the variance. Let me reread this. Yeah, so we certainly will comply with prior conditions of the prior approvals. We'll pay outstanding taxes, or I don't know that there are any, but yes, we can comply with anything in that report.
Mr. Bignell?
Yeah, that's all we have. We don't have any objections.
Great, thank you. Okay, does the board have any questions?
Mr. Chairman, it's going to stay lit dusk to dawn of whole night?
That's a good question. The lighting or the signage would be on, I'm sorry? On a timer, so during the hours of operation? Yes.
I got one more.
So it's only beyond during hours of operation, it'll turn off when the...
It sounds, yeah. Oh, so stay on beyond the hours of operation to, you know, I guess, I don't know that we have a definitive answer to that, but if it's the board's preference, we would agree to have it shut down maybe at 10 p.m. I know there are restaurants in the area. Topgolf is certainly open and illuminated beyond those hours, and with the Route 1 lighting, I don't think the lighting is going to have any impact whatsoever.
No question.
Ms. Brown?
The application asks for 2 signs? So
Yeah.
there's going to be 2 of these signs on the building, one in the front, one in the back, or where are they?
Well, it's not so much the front and the back. I think it's the...
It's the north-south facade, so
Yeah.
one's facing the Chick-fil-A, that's basically above the entrance into the facility, and then on the back side of the building, a little bit higher up, facing the Topgolf, is a little bit of a larger sign. Again, both of them say indoor skydiving.
Right, so I think it's the south and the north, if my orientation is correct, and the one facing, we'll use that description, the Chick-fil-A in the south, that's over the door. It's not at a very high elevation. The one on the north end, which will be facing Topgolf, is higher on the building, but again, it's facing Topgolf, and I suspect, and based on Mr. Bellamy's testimony, that the impacts would be nominal, if anything.
All right, that was my question.
Okay.
No, okay, so I just wanted to just confirm. I know that you're 800 feet from the nearest residential. I just want to confirm so that it is on the record. There will be no light spillage onto any residential property. It will not be illuminated or even seen by any residential property.
No, in my opinion, no, and there's actually no signage on that facade facing the residential neighborhood to the north.
Had to get it on the record.
Understood. We've been through that before.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chhabra.
So page 3, you have an architectural exterior sign. Is that part of the application? Or is that just like an additional supplement?
Oh, this is, yeah, my apologies. That really isn't part of this. This is iFly's signage that's going on the monument sign at the front of Route 1, which is already permitted. Yeah, so that's extraneous to this application. It's part of the overall signage package, but not pertinent to this application.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Good question.
All right. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you. Council, you have any summation?
No, I don't.
All right. So we'll now go to the public. Anyone within 200 feet of the subject site want to be heard? If you're within 200 feet, you receive a notice via certified mail. Seeing none, we'll go outside 200 feet. Seeing none, can I get a motion to close the public portion?
Motion to close public portion.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Patel, seconded by Mr. Cerrito. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Public portion is now closed. Do you have any summation or go to the board?
No.
All right.
I think we've covered it.
All right. So we'll go to the board.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Dave.
I make a motion to approve this application. Applicant will comply with the engineer's report. This is a very de minimis request. It is not a detriment to the neighborhood. It's not out of character with the cluster of tenants at the premise. There are no objectors. This motion will incorporate all of the testimony of the applicant, attorney, planners, engineers, and member of the board as testified.
May I ask a question, or I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think you said at the outset compliance with the engineer's report. I don't believe we got an engineer's report. Mr. Bignell's report.
You
Yes.
did just
That's what it is.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. I
Yes.
just wanted to be clear that I wasn't missing a report.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Second.
Thank you.
Motion made by Mr. Dave, seconded by Mr. Patel. Roll call, please.
Mr. Chhabra?
Yes to the motion.
Mr. Cerrito?
Yes on the motion.
Mr. Barone?
Yes on the motion.
Mr. Patel?
Motion.
Mr. DeVay?
Yes on the motion.
And Chairman Cumbo.
Yes on the motion. Unanimous approval.
Very good.
Congratulations.
Thank you all very much.
And then if you
Appreciate
need the sign to be inspected from inside the facility from the iFly, Mr. Ayotz, he volunteered to
Is that right? Okay.
to do it on behalf of the board and then report
from the
back.
top of the tube. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
Anytime.
Thank you. All right. Madam Secretary, any other business come before the board this evening?
That'll be all this evening.
Seeing none, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Patel, seconded by Mr. Cerrito. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Board stands adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone.